Welcome to All New Look Back in Amber, from exclusive interviews to interesting inside insights. Since 2010, we've been the best place to be for all things audio for us Newport County fans. Coming up in the next 45 minutes, I'm Ramsey and I've got all the big questions.
Hello, I'm Stephen and I've got the commentary highlights, and I'll be asking why our home form has been so poor.
Hi, I'm Luke. I'll have the post-match interview with County Assistant Manager Joe Dunne, and I'd like to know if we have one hand tied behind our back.
Never miss out. Subscribe to the podcast or make sure you listen live at 3pm on a Sunday, 7pm on a Wednesday, sometimes 3pm on a Wednesday, and after almost all League 2 home matches.
Right here.
Right here.
Right now.
Right now.
Newport City Radio.
So it began at 6pm in the Marquee with the NCR warm-up team yesterday and the kids from Abertillery. They were great, slightly older than normal. Charity of the day, Bernardo's Young Carers, and amazing live music from the Rogues. Even you two came in to watch
We
it.
did, yeah.
We did.
Fantastic band, the Rogues. We've seen them twice in a week now.
Quite a good crowd there as well, and they were performing, which we don't usually typically see a crowd there to watch the live music. It's just mainly people there ready for the game, but there was a crowd there when the Rogues started playing. People gathered around and it was really nice to see.
Yeah, they got a nice little following, haven't they?
Yeah.
And we're getting better at telling people that you don't need a ticket to go into the Marquee. You can go and watch the event, the warm-up gig. We would suggest you do get a ticket and go watch the game after that, but you don't have to. Continued at 7:45pm with Chris, Stephen and Luke in the compete. Stephen, talk to me about Harrogate Town.
Yeah, well, Harrogate, they were 21st in League 2 for the game. They were 6 points ahead of Hartlepool in 23rd, and they had the game in hand, which was last night. They lost their last match at Northampton, which ended a run of 6 without defeat, where they won 2 and drew 4. They lost their last away match, which was at Northampton, after drawing their previous 2. In their 10 previous away matches, Harrogate had won 2, drawn 5, lost 3. And since 2020 in League 2 against Newport, Harrogate had won 1, drawn 1, lost 3, losing the previous 2 fixtures 4-0. Harrogate had never won in Newport, and their last win versus Newport was a 2-1 win in January 2021.
Okay, Luke, how did Newport County line up?
Yeah, Graham Cochran was looking to go back-to-back wins after a good 3-1 win over Northampton on the weekend. He had Joe Day in goal, Matt Baker, Priestley Ferguson and Mickey Demetriou along the back. Cameron Norman and Will Evans as the 2 wing-backs. James Wade, Harry Charsley and Scott Bennett as a midfield 3, with Omar Bogle and Callum Kavanagh up front.
Okay, let's hear what happened yesterday afternoon, or yesterday evening at 7:45.
Good evening. Low-lying Harrogate Town arrive in Newport, technically needing one more point from their final 3 games to stay up in League 2 for a 4th successive season. Realistically, it would take an apocalyptic series of results for them to be relegated, but County did hammer Harrogate 4-0 in both of the last 2 meetings between the clubs. And the Exiles scored 3 times in the second half up at Doncaster on Saturday, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility. Chris Chappell with you on commentary, alongside Stephen Howell for our final Tuesday night assignment of the season.
Yes, I know, penultimate home game of the season. And I think after that last result, everything's rosy for Newport County at the moment. They're in the highest league position that they've been since the first day of the season. So, going into this one, given the previous results, you think that they're going to be in for an easy evening, but something tells me that it's not quite going to be as straightforward as what you think.
Evans carries it up the left side, Wade ahead of it, curls a cross in towards the middle, Bogle's there and turns the ball in! He scored early up at Harrogate earlier in the season, and Omar Bogle puts County in front in the 3rd minute here at Rodney Parade. Lovely cross in from Will Evans, and Bogle turned it home. Goal number 15 for County's top marksman. Great cross, great finish.
Yeah, brilliant breakaway goal, Will Evans. Beautiful cross into Omar Bogle, and he picked his spot. It's been a real subdued start, but that's woken the crowd up.
His follower in, tries a shot, and it's crept into the corner. Wow, inside 5 minutes. A goal for each side. And Newport led for just 2. Sam Follerin with his 4th goal of the season after moving from Middlesbrough in the summer. And the old saying goes, you're always at your most vulnerable when you've just scored. And County have thrown away the early lead and it's 1-1.
Yeah, well, it's kind of gone true to form, to be honest. That's the fifth time this season County have conceded in the first 15 minutes, and it's the sixth time this season Harrogate, have scored inside the first 15 minutes. And I'll try to get their name right for the rest of the commentary.
Charsley doesn't see the man coming over his shoulder. Now Follering's got the ball on the left of the box, left footed across the middle, and he's turned in by Thompson at the far post. What a crazy game this is. And Newport, who led in the 3rd minute, now find themselves 2-1 down in the 9th. Follering, who scored the first for Harrogate, got down the left and on his weaker left foot delivered the ball into a dangerous area between defence and the goalkeeper. It evaded Armstrong, the top scorer, in the middle, but Thompson arrived at the back post and made it 2-1 Harrogate.
Yeah, it was a good move by Harrogate, wasn't it? Following causing problems for County, and lovely cross, and like you said, Thompson there at the back post finishes it off. 4th goal of the season for him now.
Waite picks it up on the left hand side. Right footer curls it, quite a deep one, headed down and tipped over the bar. Dimitri was there, and Oxley saves the effort. The ball finds Bogle, a little back heel to Kavanagh. Now McNeil on the left hand side, tries to get onto his right foot, shot is blocked, comes back to him, just lifted over, Bogle into the net, it's 2-2. Charlie McNeil trying to score himself from the edge of the box. When his shot came back to him off a Harrogate defender, he lifted it over into the path of Omar Bogle, and from just a few yards out, he beat Oxley for his 16th goal of the season. It's another brace for the number 9, and it's 2-2.
Well, there's that reward I was talking about. Could have timed it any better. Thank you very much, Omar Bogle. Well, County deserved that goal for all their second half play. They dominated the game, the shot count, and I think Harrogate have dug in well, but I think it's only a matter of time before County scored. Hopefully now they can get another late one, get the 3 points.
Sutton through it, eye of a needle, and a cross comes in, touched in, Armstrong's made it 3-2. Goodness me. Fantastic ball in from the left-hand side, and Armstrong, the top scorer, with his 16th goal of the season, silences the crowd of Rodney Parade, and yet again, just a couple of minutes after a Newport goal, Harrogate hit back.
Yeah, well, we spoke about substitutes having an impact, and Harrogate substitution daily had an impact for them. And Newport County, Graham Coughlин's going to be livid with this. They've just got themselves back in the game, and now they find themselves 3-2 down again.
Norman off his back, still there, shot, it almost creeps in at the far post. Bogle was there, and it just appeared out of nowhere. Perhaps he's thinking he could have got a touch on it to tuck it in the bottom corner, but Norman did ever so well to carve something out there with just over 3 minutes to go. Allocated extra minutes, and the referee Neil Hare blows for full time. Disappointment. County, who are on top for large parts of the game after a mad first 10 minutes where the Exiles were in front before going 2-1 behind. And that victory ensures that Harrogate stay in the EFL for another season. They only needed 1 point and they've got 3. Meanwhile, County slumped to a 10th home defeat in the league. Only Doncaster Rovers and rock bottom Rochdale have lost more games on their own turf. But it wasn't a terrible home display. It was a very encouraging one, and it was just mistakes at the back that made the final score. Newport County 2, Harrogate Town 3.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Chris. Apologies for any colourful language that you heard from the fans. Very passionate fans there from yesterday evening's commentary. So let's hear from the Newport County assistant manager, Joe Dunne.
Yeah, obviously incredibly disappointed. It's something that obviously we've been desperate to fix since we've come in, and obviously when it happens in any game, but especially when after the good result on Saturday, we just lost concentration both times. Got ourselves into a great position at the beginning of the game, and then obviously getting ourselves back into the game. But very disappointing from us as a staff point of view. Just a lack of concentration. Maybe that's tiredness. Maybe that's we've pushed them quite hard since we've come in. We're close to the end, but we've got to keep going to the end. And we're disappointed as a team.
Ironically, I don't think Joe Dunne had a save to make other than to pick the ball out of the net.
Yeah, it was kind of that way. We started the game, of course, brilliantly, and then they had two moments pretty quick back-to-back where we just couldn't recover from the first goal, really. And then the game became a bit bitty in the first half, but obviously we changed things up a bit in the second half, and we totally dominant in the second half, totally dominant. Should have scored more goals, but the ironic thing is I think that was their first attack in the second half. But look, that's the way it goes. Football's like that. You've got to shut that door, and if we want to move forward, we need to eradicate those mistakes.
Scott Bennett, how is he?
Do you know what? I'm not really sure. I think we didn't have a lot to say after the game. Hopefully the players can chat amongst themselves, really. Sometimes let the players do the talking. I think it's a head injury, so we'll have to see and assess him probably tomorrow. If it is any kind of concussion, obviously this season could be over, but we have to wait and see what happens tomorrow.
I guess it shows about the progress you need to make, isn't it? We're going over old ground, I guess, but backing up wins that's what you'll need next season.
Yeah, backing up wins. I mean, look, we've come into tonight with an opportunity to climb the table again. We've not been in many situations like that this season from where we've been. Trying to break that next level is proving it's based on where we are and what we've got is proving difficult. But we've done the best we can and we've done okay. But we need to we've been preaching to the players consistently that we're better than the league position suggests, and we can break that mould But nights like tonight, kind of, you back to the drawing board. And it's like, but we need to. The players have done fabulous for us, but of course, we can't keep doing and having games like we've had tonight. And I know it's frustrating, and everyone's trying to control their emotions, but adding to the group, I think, will help for sure. And learning from these experiences, but we don't want too many because we want to try and break a mould.
Is there any way you can fill that bench add anyone for Gillingham, or are they, like for example, is Jack who's been at Ponty?
I'm on the understanding that we although they've finished the season, we can't use them.
Yeah.
It's incredible. I don't think that happens in because I think a non-league club of some or whatever in England, but I think we as a association need to look at that really, because that's denying a young player an opportunity to develop. I think it's a nonsensical rule really. I mean, it may be the contract is a certain date, but I think when the season finishes early, I mean, it's a great opportunity for managers to look at one or two younger players without obviously weakening the team too much. But I think what's evident tonight is we've got to a position of where are we? Where are we up? 14th in the league. We've got to a position of 14th in the league. We've got a six-man bench. We've got numerous injuries, and we've got a team who are really giving everything they've got. And I think when we first come in, we would have taken that, but we're pushing them to the very edge here, and we've got 2 to go, so they'll have to go again.
Aaron Weldig, he not involved tonight, sad injury.
Aaron was feeling a bit after Saturday, I believe. We're hoping he should be available for the rest of the 2 games. I just think, even like tonight, Harry Charlesley's been out for a period of time and he's played 75 minutes, so we have to manage him. We've just got to try and fulfill our fixtures to the end of the season, and the 6-man bench now becomes a 5-man bench. Who knows after Gillingham? Who knows what it's going to be? But maybe we'll keep going to the very end of the season. But we want to have better moments. We've had a lot of good moments, don't forget, and we've tonight is a real sucker punch really. Obviously Harrogate, probably the pressure's off a little bit and they can express themselves a little bit more, but obviously it's a big game for them as well, and they're now officially safe, if you like. So we've been in that situation ourselves. But hopefully we can have more. Hopefully we can have Aaron Idle for this team.
What about Lewis Twamley and Joe Woodowis? They came back in January. Are they eligible? Could they make up the bench?
No, I don't think they're going to be considered for the squad.
Thanks, Luke, for grabbing that for us. Lots of Joe Dunne in the show today, more from the post-match conference and more from our exclusive interview with him right towards the end of the show today as well. So looking forward to hearing more Joe.
You can't get enough Joe Dunne.
You can't get enough of Joe.
Brilliant. Just brilliant. It's just his interview with us. Cracking. Stephen, you were there, walk me through it.
Yeah, well, I thought we got off to a perfect start. Brilliant goal involving Will Evans. Finished well by Bogle. It woke the crowd up because weirdly at the kickoff the crowd was almost silent, and I said it in the commentary. That woke the crowd up, which it did. I found it really odd. I don't know why. Normally, it's raucous, but last night it was different. I don't know why. Maybe different people there. I'm not sure. Yeah, and then Harrogate hit back with a double whammy for Larin, and then he provided the cross for the second for Thompson. Harrogate were looking a threat going forward. They forward line, you can see why they've scored a lot of goals and create a lot of assists. They're quite a good side going forward. I think maybe with Newport is that there was 4 changes last night, and he changed the entire midfield, and I think maybe it took him a little while to get to grips with Harrogate, but then Charsley and Waite began to cause him problems, but then Bennett had to go off just before half time, which was a bit of a blow, I think. And then second half, I thought they started really well, created chances, were dominating the game, just maybe lacking that bit of quality in the final third. They were getting into good areas, but the final ball sometimes weren't brilliant, or Harrogate were getting important blocks in or clearances at certain times. Thought they defended really well. And then he made a change. He brought McNeil on, changed to a 3-4-3. I said it in the commentary. Sometimes, the last game he did that in, they were vulnerable in the midfield. And but last night it almost had an immediate impact because McNeil was involved in the goal. But then, unfortunately, when Harrogate changes had an impact for them as well. Daly come on, got the cross in for the third goal. And yeah, Newport, they rallied, tried to get equaliser. And yeah, I just think overall, to be honest, I thought the best team lost last night. I think Newport were far better than Harrogate. But Harrogate, as we talk about, they took their chances, they were clinical, and we weren't. And yeah, disappointing. I mean, this first time Graham Coughlin's lost back-to-back home games as a manager. Yeah, disappointing result, but you can't fault the effort of the players.
Okay, lots to talk about within that, and we'll ask you some questions in a couple of seconds' time. I might have the answer to your quiet Craig situation right at the beginning of the match.
Okay.
They've been applauding the Rogues in the marquee too lately.
That's what it
By
was.
the time they got in to watch the game at 7:45, they were knackered.
Yeah, they were blown away by the Rogues, obviously.
There's half truth in that, by the way, because the marquee crowd were really took them in yesterday, and yeah, they were really great, and lots of applause even with that S. Luke, also, yeah, you were next to your learned colleague. What did you see?
After 2 minutes, when we went 1-0 up through Omar Bogle, I thought, here we go again. As Stephen mentioned at the top of the show, last 2 times we played them, we've won 4-0. So, goal after 2 minutes, I thought, here we go again. To concede 1 straight after scoring shouldn't be acceptable, but to concede 2, we had to get up and start again. That was, it wasn't good. But then we've talked about the management duo bringing in confidence, especially along the back line. I think at times yesterday, we have seen it, and it's something I mentioned to Stephen, they do look, I don't know whether it's because they're tired or whether it's a mental thing. When the ball goes back to them on time, so I'm not saying it's all the time, they do look a little bit shaky.
Yeah, they were a bit last night, weren't they?
Yeah. Whether it's long balls going back to Priestley Farquharson, I think it was the Mansfield game, was it? A ball went back to him and he messed up his pass to Joe Day.
Yeah, for a large part of that first half, both defences were just chaotic as well. Even Harrogate, even when the way they were just defending with their lives, to be honest, on times, just trying to get the ball clear. Yeah, I think there was points last night where the defending was just chaotic.
But yeah, I agree with Stephen, the better team. Last we had 19 shots compared to Harrogate's 6. Both teams did have 4 on target. That just goes to show that you know what you're going to get with Harrogate. We've seen them over the past few years now in League 2 as they become an established GFL side. They're going to play 4-4-2, or as they played last night, 4-2-3-1, I think it was.
4-2-3-1, yeah.
They're going to be really rigid, really defensively solid. And it's a case around to break them down, which we have to. We threw the kitchen sink at it towards the end. Graham Cochran tried the tactic of throw every single attacking player on the pitch, the old Michael Flynn trait. It did work. Charlie McNeil came on and scored, but shame to lose Scott Bennett, arguably the better players this season. Yeah, it was just frustrating night all around. And you could hear that in Joe Dunne's voice. Normally we'd get Graham Cochran for the post-match, as you know by listening to this show, but even he was a bit stunned last night, so we had Joe Dunne instead.
I think we've got to bear in mind is that Harrogate were kind of fighting for survival, even though they probably were going to be safe. You need to be safe. So was that a factor in it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because they, like Chris said in the commentary, they only needed a point to be safe, but they actually got 3. Yeah, I think once they got themselves in front, I think they were kind of, like I said, they defended really, really well. Give them credit on times. Yeah, after the first half, I think once they kind of got themselves in front, and in the second half, they was kind of looking to hit County on the break more. So just disappointing, isn't it?
I can understand why Graham Cochran didn't come out. I think at this point of the season, he still needs to, given what we're going to talk about a little bit later with the options and the limited options that we've now got going into the last 2 games. I think he does need to either speak to them. He'll decide whether it's a kind of like a rant or whether it's more of a kind of like, it's okay, guys. We don't know what happened, but I can imagine that he thought his priority had to be there. As we mentioned already, we don't mind hearing off Joe at all. Look, let me talk me through the changes. So 4 changes in this game. I'm guessing that was enforced changes.
Some of them were, yes. We had no Aaron Wildig, which I believe is a stomach bug. We had Nathan Roy Welsh, who dropped to the bench. Aaron Lewis, who dropped to the bench. And Charlie McNeil also. Stephen, you'll be able to tell me
Charlie
quicker.
McNeil as well.
Yeah, we went to very much a similar side to the one that played against Mansfield last Wednesday. Or last Tuesday even. That game, as we agreed, Wildig changed the game that day, but there was no Wildig today. I think it was changes somewhat enforced. 4 games in 14 days with a limited squad as it is. You're going to want to rotate, you're going to want to change.
It's everything, isn't it? End of the season, so a couple of injuries picking up, illness. You can't guard against that, can you? Stephen, you mentioned that it would seem quite tactical between the 2 managers. We loved the tactical element of Newport County's game at the moment. Was it a bit yin and yang?
Yeah, well, I mean, like Luke said, Harrogate, you know what you're going to get. They play 4-2-3-1, kind of almost. The personnel doesn't really change that much. Yeah, they've kind of got a more or less of a settled team. They only made 1 change last night, which was in the midfield. So the rest of the team is quite settled. So they're quite fortunate in that, and I think it shows in their play. And it, obviously, like I said, I think we were a bit disjointed because we brought in Charsley, Bennett, and Waite into the midfield, which is a completely new midfield from the previous 2 games, isn't it? So and obviously Charsley just coming back from injury. I thought Charsley played quite well last night. He's getting into wide positions.
He came on Saturday against Doncaster, I believe, so he had half an hour or so to get up to speed then. But
he was getting into wide positions. I thought James Waite was superb last night. I was really impressed with his performance. I thought he was at the heart of everything that we did. That was good. Had a couple of chances himself as well. Yeah, he's up for the battle, but he's also quite creative last night. I think what they were doing with him was playing him in behind the strikers, and I think that's a really good position for him. And he was causing problems last night, and could have got a goal, maybe with a bit better shooting.
Yeah, we've seen someone play in front of the strikers. Obviously, James Waite last night. Aaron Wildig's played there. Nathan Roy Welsh has played there. So I think we talked about a lack of creativity that we've seen. So I think playing someone in behind the strikers rather than, say, a holding midfielder, then 2 normal midfielders. Yeah. I think we're playing 2 normal midfielders and a holding midfielder, which...
like when you've got Bennett, it allows you to do that, doesn't it? You've got Bennett and Charsley, and then you've got the back 3 plus Bennett. So that's 4 players. It allows players like Charsley and Waite to kind of go and be a bit more creative.
Last couple of games of the season, injuries, they're there. Some players aren't going to make it back to for the last 2 games. What about cards? So are we in any danger of losing any players due to yellow or red cards?
Red cards, obviously. If there was to be one on Saturday, we can't predict the future, can we, Stephen?
No, obviously not.
Why can't you? This is what you're here to do. What's the matter with you two today? Just because you have to see the lottery winners in Bristol?
I only predict the future on Tuesdays.
Obviously, if there's a red card on Saturday, we won't know. Saturday on Wednesday, recording the pod.
So go yellows then.
Yellows, I don't believe off the top of my head.
I think we're all right. I think
we're okay.
You've got to have about 10, haven't you? I think to get a 1 game ban, maybe.
Is it 10? I thought it was 5, or was that just?
I'm not sure. I thought it was 10, wasn't it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I think we'll be all right on that score. We don't pick up that many bookings.
Josh
anyway,
Labadie doesn't play for us
Josh
anymore.
Labadie doesn't play for us anymore, so we're all right.
Okay, my mind is put at rest. Luke, let's go to the Absolutely County man of the match. What have you got?
Yeah, so obviously on Absolute County on Twitter, you had your chance to have your say on man of the match last night. Your options were 2-goal hero, Omar Bogle, Will Evans, who I thought had a really good game down the left-hand side, Mickey Dimitri or other, which you could let me know who you thought were in the comments. My learned friend Stephen Howell.
Yeah, I noticed there was some geezer on Twitter called Stephen Paul Howell. Not sure who he is.
Well, he's all over Twitter at the moment. Watch him.
He's all over it apparently. Yeah. So he made a comment last night. He said that James Waite was the man of the match. I thought it was a brilliant performance by him.
Do you concur with this mysterious man?
I do actually. Yes, my namesake on Twitter. I think he's a very wise man.
And Paul Williams agreed with you.
Yeah, that's it.
Or agreed with Stephen Howell, whoever he might be.
But did everybody agree with Stephen, or was there a different man of the match?
There was.
Yeah.
People agreed with the sponsors man of the match. 76.5% of the vote went to Omar Bogle.
British rock band FM are on a UK tour. They'll be here at the Neon on Saturday the 20th of May. Doors open at 7:30pm. Tickets available on a different website to know more. It is fmofficial.com.
Right here, right now.
Newport City Radio.
Home is not where the heart is. For my talking point this week, I'm going to ask the question, why has our home form been so poor this season? There's a reason behind this, as you might have heard in the commentary. Last night's defeat was the 10th home defeat of the season last night. It's our worst points total at home since the 2016-17 season, where we achieved the Great Escape. I just thought I'd open up the discussion to maybe reasons why our home form is so poor. Luke Lewis, why is our home form so poor?
Well, I think we should hear from Newport County assistant.
Oh, let's do that, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think any team in the league would want a better home record, if you like. It's something we spoke about before the game. To change that mentality, we might have to change and bring some fresh players in with a new mentality, because sometimes it can stick to people, and that's something that we're going to have to seriously look at, because we do need to change our home form. It's been a fortress here over many years, but over the past couple of seasons, especially this season, it's been not so good, and obviously that's the reason partially why we're in here as well. So we'll do our best. I think we've tried to fix that problem, if you like, and I think we've had some good performances here at home. It's just second half we were very good tonight. It's just the manner of the goal so quickly after scoring, and that's obviously something we have to address with the players.
Yeah, thank you, Joe Dunne. And just something I'd like to pick up on what he said there. I had to look at our first half and second half stats for this season compared to 2016-17. We've taken 28 points from first half results, if they'd stayed the same this season. But in the second half, it goes down to 24, which is what we've actually taken. In the first half of the 2016-17 first half games at home, if the score stayed the same, we would have had 33 points. But from the second half games, it was 23. So as you can see, we're kind of winning the first half, but we're losing the second half in games, which is probably one of the reasons for us not getting great results. But Luke, back to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think something really interesting that Joe said then is it a mentality issue? Is it something that's deep-rooted in the minds of the players about playing at home in front of Rodney Parade? Can they, I don't know whether it's, can they handle playing at Rodney Parade or what, I don't know. But then you've got experienced players there, Joe Dunne, Mickey Demetriou, you even got David Pipe, Mark O'Brien in the coaching staff, so that shouldn't be an issue. I think having a larger squad to choose on, which might come into play in my talking point, but I think definitely there's an issue at home, definitely. I think if we had an improved home form this season, we might be making a late run for the playoffs. We've climbed to 14th, which is the highest position in the league since the opening day of the season.
Oh, that's a good stat. Where did you get that from?
I looked online. the Encyclopedia of Stephen Howe. It was only...
It's a geezer off Twitter.
Yeah. It wasn't long ago after the Hartlepool game, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were saying that home form is improving, we're starting to get there. After the Hartlepool game, back-to-back wins for the first time in the 2022-23 season. First time we had back-to-back clean sheets for the first time since October 2021. So there were signs that it was getting there. And then it's 2 Tuesdays.
Yeah, we got to stop playing on Tuesdays, haven't we? It's just not happening for us, is it?
No.
Mr. Lansdale, what do you think?
Well, if you're blaming Tuesdays, you're going to be absolutely shocked and amazed at my analysis. Are you ready? The Dragons play at Rodney Parade.
Yeah.
And I don't believe they've won a lot of home games all season.
Is Rodney Parade cursed? The curse of Rodney Parade.
Because the Dragons went to the Millennium Stadium on the weekend and won.
Yeah,
they did beat the Scarlets.
They always seem to win on that Judgment Day, don't they? Don't know why, but...
So I don't know.
So what you're saying is we need to move to the Millennium Stadium, is it?
We need to do something.
I'm sure that'd go down really well.
Wembley.
Yeah. Well, Wembley used to be our second home at one point.
Our second home, but then again, we don't really win there. But that's not probably down to footballing reasons. I don't know. It could be a cup. They have to find the reason why, because you can't have that record at home. That needs desperately improving. And how do you do that? And I hope they got some answers, because apart from feng shui, I haven't got any.
But then you look at our away form this season, played 22, won 7, drawn 8, lost 4, 24 goals for, 25 against, 29 points away from home. We're in the top 10 for our away form, so our away form is up to scratch. Obviously, we've lost 7 times. Yes, it can be better. But last season, we were 6th in the away form table, 36 points from 23 games. Away from home, we're good. But Rodney Parade, it's just that something's missing. Flinney was able to tap into it. Roby, at the beginning of his reign, was when he had Hatswell with him, and it kind of died off. We've seen the spark reignited in parts under Graham Coughlin, but it's too inconsistent for me.
It's a big thing, and it's nice to see that the management are aware as well. I think from what Joe said. Thank you very much, guys. It's been brilliant. Are you holding a big or small event or celebrating a special occasion and need the perfect space? Well, you can hire the Neon. Call on 533 666.
Right here.
Right here.
Right now.
Right now.
Newport City Radio.
Yeah, so for my talking point this week, what I want to ask is something that I noted in Joe Dunne's press conference, and it's something I noticed as well. We have 5 players injured, 1 just came back. Obviously, you've got Scott Bennett as well. Do we have one hand tied behind our back? Now, before we get expert opinions of the guys in the studio, let's hear from Joe Dunne.
Missing, obviously, key players, defenders as well, were stretched. 6-man bench, as you say, Declan Drysdale, Clark. Now Scott takes a knock. Obviously, we've got 1 or 2 others out as well that are important, and we're probably maxed out, really. And we've got 2 games to go. I just want everyone to know how extremely hard the players have worked. Maybe it's a factor, but I don't think it's fitness. I think it's more mental. When you're this close to the end of the season, it can be very difficult. Obviously, we want to win as many games as you can. We want to win every game, and that's our mantra. And that's what really disappoints us as a staff tonight, for the players especially. The manner of the defeat.
Yeah, so Joe Dunne there talking about I don't want to call it an injury crisis, but it is an injury crisis. So I'm going to throw to my very good friend Stephen Howe. Does Newport County have one hand tied behind our back at the moment?
I think we've got both hands tied behind our backs, to be honest. I think they're in serious trouble. Last night we only had 5 outfield players available. That went down to 4 once Bennett went off. So options were limited then to like Mariah Welsh, was on Keeban Rye, the youngster.
Mariah Welsh, Keeban Rye, Nick Townsend, Sam Bowen.
Sam Bowen, who hardly ever plays. So it wasn't really that much to call on last night. Was McNeil was probably the best option he had after Aaron Lewis had come on. Scott Bennett's probably going to miss at least the next game with concussion. I think it's a 10-day thing, isn't it, with concussion?
I believe so. That might mean that might be a season over.
Yeah, I mean, you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You've got about 5 or 6 players missing.
Declan Drysdale, Aaron Wildig, Adam Lewis, James Clark, Frandy Zanzala were all missing yesterday.
Yeah.
Harry Charlesy first starting just under a month.
Mm.
And obviously Bennett went off yesterday, so there's 7 players there.
So if you look at a squad, it means you've got about 16 players, possibly 17 available for the next game, which to me is worrying.
What do we do about it?
Well, he said he wants the smaller squad, didn't he?
That was James Robury.
And Graham Coughlin has said he wants to work with smaller numbers as well, hasn't he? For me, you cannot go into games struggling to fill the bench. It's not good management, in my opinion. He's spoken about being more professional, and surely it's more professional to have a full complement of players. And that comes on to the question, where do you look? So, I mean, why aren't academy players being used? There must be somebody in the academy who's playing well, or could be given a chance. So I just think, it's a bit worrying for me. Fortunately, we've only got 2 games left, so we probably will scrape through.
Ian Lamsdale, do you have any thoughts you would like to add to this?
Well, just being on what Stephen just said there, and we might have some thoughts of Joe Dunne again. I think he does mention it on the little clip that we've got from our interview with him in a couple of seconds' time. How are we doing in terms of other teams? So, Robury wanted a smaller squad. I forgot that Graham had mentioned that as well. So, thanks for reminding me on that one. How are we doing at the end of the season in terms of other teams? Don't know. So
other teams were able to fill 7 quality substitutes. We're able to fill in 6 with 1 or 2 academy players.
So this is the battle between kind of having too big a squad and you can't work with and coach them sufficiently well enough. Why is that? Do you need to bring in more people into the management structure? Is that how other teams do it? I don't know. So all in all, it's a battle between having too many people and maybe not coaching them efficiently enough, and having too little people and end up in this problem that we've got right now.
Well, Graham and Joe has both said that they want to add players over the summer, so I think next season we might still be a small squad in terms of 23-24.
Yeah,
but it'll be larger, I think, than this season, because I don't think they want as small a squad. I think you're seeing the negatives of having a smaller squad. If you've got 4 or 5 players out injured, then you're going to start having to name 4 or 5 players on the bench,
Yeah,
because it's really interesting hearing what Joe Dunne just said in that little clip, and he doesn't feel it's a physical fitness thing, it's a mental thing, and there have been a lot of games. That was a real brutal run towards the end.
And plus, you look at the 2 different managers we've had in the season, they're chalk and cheese, I'd say. Graham Coughlin and Joe Dunne, we know they've been working hard. They've had the players work hard, whether it be on the training pitch, whether it be on a Saturday, or they'll be on a Tuesday.
Or in the boxing gym.
Yes.
As we found out when we spoke to Joe.
Yes. Mentally, I think they're drained. Again, 4 games in 14 days. Last game now coming up on Saturday, and then they have a week off. That can't be good for a footballer.
So is this the question for next season? Is it now that they've got to look at it now as as we wrap things up and think, right, okay, we understand that where the fitness levels got to be for next season, and we can now start to do that. Do they now need to look at the mental side of the game and think, do they need someone who's very good at the psychology of it and bring somebody in that can look after that?
I think so.
Because that ties in with your talking point, Stephen, and your talking point as well.
I think so, because, Joe said, even with the home record, Joe Dunne said that it could be a mental thing and it could stick with players about mental sticking point.
Yeah,
about playing a Rodney Parade. So I think there could be a mental issue at the club. I don't know, a mentality issue, whether that's something. We've seen Graham Coughlin come out and say he wants to make the players physically stronger, mentally stronger, so it could be an interesting off-season.
Okay, I'm sure we'll find out in time.
This year, Exposure Wrestling has some great shows lined up for the Neon. Fantastic event here on past Sunday. Frankie Kazarian was here. Fantastic professional wrestler he is. There's no age restrictions. These shows are suitable for the whole family. All we ask is under 16s be accompanied by an adult. Dates for the next show and tickets are available at exposurewrestling.com.
Right here, right now. This is Newport City Radio.
Well, we can't get enough. You've been listening to this podcast for the last 2 weeks, and the numbers are fantastic, so thank you very, very much. We can always squeeze in some more, though.
Yeah,
so
we can.
Just to get you in the mood for a little bit more of one of our favourite Irish people, new favourite Irish people.
Yep.
As if you haven't had enough of him already, a bit more Joe Dunne.
Of course, those teams that are at the top have probably had a consistent selection of players and a depth of players that give you that opportunity to be able to like-for-like changes. When we had the January window, we brought in Matt Baker, obviously Charlie McNeil and Callum Kavanagh. Now, these are young players, you know, and you look at some of the other teams, they bring in experienced players who've got good League One experience, maybe some even Championship. We're really pleased with the impact that our young players have had, but at some stage when you come up against like the consistency of the teams at the top, you need to raise your game, and I think we've done that. I think we've done that in certainly the games we've had. We've raised that consistency. However, and as the gaffer has probably alluded to in some press conferences, we are where we are for a reason, and it's that consistency that's probably let us down this season. And to get that, I think that goes back to structure, and that goes back to recruitment, to be able to get those levels of where those other teams are at. But it's difficult.
So can I assume that Newport County needs a really, really good transfer window coming up?
Well, everyone does. I mean, we want a successful window, wherever window we choose to go in. But again, we can only work in a window that allows us to be able to work that window. And don't forget, everyone else is looking for that player. And some clubs can get that player over the line easily. Some clubs can't. So we need to box clever. And we always try and do that. And one thing we believe we're good at, certainly, the gaffer is as well, is I think we can find one or two players that can help the team. And that's vital. And then it's making sure that if you run with a small squad, they stay fit. And that comes all to other things. That's like your backroom staff and da-da-da-da. So lots to do, and we just deal with every day as it comes.
Indeed, you'll be coming look forward in Amber with that little clip there.
You can.
Yeah. Again, very serious question, and talking about what can be done, stuff that we talk about podcast 8. Gobby said as well, there's some amazing lighter moments, especially around his career and how he got into football. There's some hilarious anecdotes in there, because that's not normal. The way he ended up in football is not normal on any level. Yeah. So please go and have a little listen to that one. It's available now wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to wrap it as always with score predictions. Gillingham on Saturday the 29th at 3 p.m. Luke, score prediction.
Well, if our recent form is anything to go by, we win, then we lose, and we win, then we lose, and we win, then we lose, and we just lost our last game, so we're going to win 2-1.
That's a good start. Where did you get that from?
Twitter.
Yeah, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
All right, so you're breaking your own.
I'm going to think. Yeah, I'm going to break the current sequence of events, and it's just that Gillingham very good at home. They've won 9, drawn 1, lost 1, and they lost 11. So I think we'd do well to get a draw there.
Then the very, very final last game of the 2022-23 season.
It's gone quick.
Has it? Not what you two asked. No, it has. It's gone speeding by. Crewe Alexandra are the final visitors on Monday, the 8th of May at 12:30 p.m. It's an early kick-off, so we'll be in the marquee very, very early from 11 o'clock, only with Tinty and the bucket hats.
Oh, nice.
If you're going to end the season, that's how you end the season.
We're going out in style.
We are, so Tinty going to be there. Can't wait to see the lads. What a way to lead into that game at 12:30. So, Luke, score prediction.
I'm going to break the mould here, and I'm going to say Newport County are going to win 1-0.
Oh, I think we're going out with a big finish. 3-0 Newport.
Ooh, that is a big finish.
Positive. I like all that very, very much. Thank you for taking time to listen today. As always, we'd love to read your thoughts about our thoughts on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram via direct message. We're also on email, studio@newportcityradio.org. We will catch you on Wednesday the 10th of April at 7 p.m, the normal time, as we look back in Amber at that match against Crewe. More talking points, more banter and more top class analysis.
Right here.
Right here.
Right now.
Right now. Newport City Radio.